Hello and welcome to Europa Universalis 4. I am Lord Forwind, here with a guide on how to do Abu Bakr ambition. Abu Bakr II's ambition, which is to start as Mali and have 4 colonial subjects in South America. So, from my experience playing as Mali, which is, I think this might be my first time really seriously playing as them, they are an absurdly powerful nation. I would say they are stronger than the Songhai, which is the other major country in the Niger region. At the beginning of the game, obviously the Songhai has better national ideas as the game goes on, but in order to get the achievement, you have to have 4 colonial nations in South America, and there are, in fact, 4 regions in South America, so you have to get a colonial nation in each of them. Obviously, it is difficult to do so because you're competing with Spain and Portugal. So the easiest one to get to is obviously Brazil. In fact, the distance between this province here, Pernambuco, and your province of Gabu over here is just enough in range that if you get to the 3rd exploration idea, plus 50 colonial range, you can reach it. Obviously, once you get to the New World, it's really easy to get to the rest of the New World given time. Normally you'll be fighting Portugal for Brazil. In this case I was fighting Castile. It might have actually been easier to fight Portugal because Portugal is less of a military. I ended up fighting 2 major wars against Spain, and Spain backed up by France, which I have to say was quite terrifying. Luckily, your homeland is one of the most uninvadable regions in the game. Very inhospitable to invaders, and then you can just run circles around the AI in Brazil if you play it right. So the first thing I did was when I played as Mali. This is also sort of a Mali guide. I first conquered the country over here, Jolof. I only managed to get 3 of the provinces because they're allied with Morocco. Anyway, I took those. That gave me access to the coast, which it's not a huge problem because you already have access to the coast down here, but these additional provinces do give you the needed sailors to actually have a functioning fleet. Very difficult. Navy sailors are going to be one of your biggest issues playing as Mali if you try for the achievement. Also, as Mali, I allied myself to Messina up here and Kong to the south. In retrospect, I might not have allied myself to Kong, I might have conquered them, but they proved to be a fairly reliable little ally. Jenne up here has 5 other allies at the beginning of the game, so I allied myself to them. Once I destroyed Jolof here, I vassalized Mossy over here, which in retrospect I wouldn't vassalize, I would conquer them. You can vassalize them and then just annex them, which might have actually been the best move. The problem is they're fetishist, and I enforced religion on them, which meant I had to wait like 60 years for them to not hate me. But it was a pretty good decision overall, because they're one of the few large countries in the game. Next, obviously, I developed feudalism in the capital of Joma here, and then once the Renaissance popped, I developed the Renaissance here in this province, whose name I'm not even going to try to pronounce. In retrospect, I could have probably waited for Portugal to arrive to spread feudalism because you do border them to some degree. Actually, no, you don't really border them there. And now that they use trade nations, I probably did the right thing actually, developing feudalism and the Renaissance. And I was lucky that I got an alliance with Portugal and they were willing to knowledge share colonialism with me, which was rather awesome. So essentially what I did was as soon as I found Portugal, I just spent the rest of the time improving relations with them. And whatever their rival was, in this case it was Morocco, I rivaled Morocco in hopes of getting Portugal's support. Once I did, I had Portugal as an ally, and I just never bothered Portugal again. If they had controlled Brazil, it might have been a little bit harder, but it's still possible to kind of sneak in up here and get a couple Brazilian provinces and have the AI still not want to kill you. Spain is obviously an exception. They're particularly aggressive towards native empires. And then I waited till the nation over here, Fulo, emerged. They take over these 4 provinces here, but they don't usually have many allies. They're fetishists, so I fabricated claim on them, declared war, conquered them. They also picked up these two provinces here from Messina, and I took both of those, gave one province back to these guys who had lost the war with Timbuktu. Then I invaded Timbuktu, and then I invaded Songhai, who actually is surprisingly weak compared to Mali if you've grown to be this large. Annexed Mossi, and then I've just been steadily marching east. No one can really survive this alliance of three people. Not to mention Mali's actual lands themselves are some of the better ones in the region. Obviously, these two are developed, but the rest of their lands, they've got some 10, 17, 9 development provinces in this area. So you'll definitely be the largest country in the Niger region, but most importantly, you are the country that has 2 major gold mines that started, I think, 6 development and 6 development. So you were getting like 10 gold from gold. And gold from gold at the beginning of the game. And I developed those a little bit, but they allow you to finance, first of all, advisors, but they also allow you to finance what I found Mali's biggest strength is mercenaries. You can support a massive mercenary army as these guys. As you'll notice, a lot of my force is mercenaries. I don't think it actually tells you how many mercenaries you have. Suffice to say, about half my army cost is mercenaries. And that is very key as Mali because you have a very relatively low manpower pool. You're still really large, but if you want to expand quickly, you need the ability to fight wars consistently. And since you've got an excess of gold, and once you develop it, you can use that obviously to build buildings, get more gold. Having infantry mercenary regiments I found to be really good. It helped a lot with the wars with Songhai because I could lose 10,000 troops and barely notice it, whereas if they lost 10,000, that was most of their manpower pool. In terms of snagging land in Brazil, there are 4 native countries in this region. Actually, do they even exist? Yeah. Oh, there's ones like Tupinambra here and country here, Tapuya. And they're actually rather vulnerable to being attacked early on because they always are on the ocean. So once you get a province up like here, one of these 3 or 4 provinces, you can fabricate a claim on them because now your colonial range will be like this big and invade them. And that was an easy way for me to pick up 2 or 3 provinces. Once I picked up those 2 and 3 provinces, I worked my way down the coast. In fact, I vassalized and annexed one of the native countries, and then you have to get to La Plata. Annoyingly, and it is very frustrating, La Plata doesn't start till down here. AI tends to colonize here, which really slows down your expansion into this region. Another trick might be to go in through Brazil and try and colonize this way. In my case, I went for the coast. Then it's a hop, skip, and a jump around to this province here, which is as far as I could get colonial range. They hit this province. Otherwise, you'd have to go to here. Peru doesn't start, actually colonial Peru doesn't start up until here, which is frustrating. So you have to get one of these 2 provinces to actually reach Peru. Once you do, at that point you probably got a lead on the Inca if they're still around. If not Cusco, you can beat them. The trick really is to get there before Spain does, but I found lately the Inca and other native empires there tend to actually hold out against the Spanish fairly well. And Colombia, no one tends to colonize early. Colombia is actually a massive colonial region in terms of where you can actually start building. Since you only need 5 cities from it, it's actually rather easy to just, take 5 right here. You could literally have 5 right in this one spot. And then it was just really a matter of time. I started out with exploration, obviously, so I could find the New World. I did do 1 colony here in Africa first. Also colonized my way up towards Morocco because I was rivals with them, and Portugal was nice enough to give me land in wars, which worked out rather well. Took expansion. Obviously, you want as many colonists as possible. Once you have 3 colonists, I made sure to get land of opportunity, faster colonists to get the extra colonial settling. I did the Merchant Guild's New World Charter. Obviously, you want to exploit both the missions, if possible, and your estates. You, as Mali, actually have one of the better ideas I found in a while, which is the Islamization of the aristocracy. -1 tolerance of heathens, +1 missionary strength. It actually allows you to convert most of this region here fairly rapidly. Your traditions do give you fairly good tolerance of heathens, so I suppose if you wanted to play Mali differently, you could go humanist and just be tolerant of pretty much every religion in the game, except for Shia to some degree. And but in my case, I was aiming to convert things. Yeah. Other things to remember, that mysticism really helps you in terms of getting tech and trying to get either Spain, Portugal, England, or France on your side as an ally. If worse comes to worse, you can always ally yourself with Morocco and Tunis. And in the event of a Portugal-Spain colonial war, they will take the brunt of any invasion. This region right here is really nasty to invade, especially if you go and do Scorched Earth. It just makes the attrition for these desert, arid provinces a nightmare to march through. I built a fort here, and if someone had attacked me, Scorched Earth on that fort, it would be like 7 or 8 attrition per month, easily. And other than that, Mali plays pretty much like a European nation. The only threat is obviously Portugal, Spain, France, or England attacking you. But if you have enough mercenaries and you improve your gold mines and you work with a couple small allies in the region, you can easily expand east. You do get a nice plus 20% income for vassals as Mali, so vassalizing people is actually a legitimate strategy, because you will want to switch to the Iqua government once you get feudalism, which gives you another plus 33 income from vassals. So you end up with like 67, 70% income for your vassals, which is rather nice because it keeps them weak, gets you lots of money. But overall, in general, gold is your key. The colonial nations aren't hard to get, they just take time. You could even get the colonial nations just playing a normal Mali conquest game. If I had to play it slightly differently, I probably wouldn't have gone expansion ideas as Mali. I would have probably taken them as my third. Probably taken defensive as my second idea, just so I had the bonus morale of armies, and obviously if you went further down this, cheaper troops, less attrition, everything. Mainly because fighting Spain is hard because they get bonus morale from the beginning of the game, plus 15. So I was barely balancing them out with that one idea group. In fact, if they go defensive ideas, which these guys are, they start to have plus 30 morale over you and you can't compete. Portugal is relatively easy to beat because they don't take defensive ideas usually. France, again, is a nightmare to try and fight. England's not the hardest to fight because they don't tend to have a massive army or take army ideas. Other than that, that's pretty much how I played Mali and how to get Abu Bakir's achievement. Not hard. Mali's, I would say, one of the easier nations to play. Just takes patience and a half-decent knowledge of colonizing and how to maintain an economy. One of the biggest tricks was when I was fighting wars in Brazil was constantly, if I couldn't fight Spain or Portugal's armies or France's armies head on, I would flee deep into the Amazonian jungle where the AI couldn't find me, and when they went to take my upper land, I'd run through the jungle, take their lower land, back and forth, and they would lose a ton of attrition marching through these territories. As Mali, you do get a little bit reduced attrition, which is nice. The standard war, France and Spain would lose like 50,000 troops to attrition. I'd lose 20,000. That's a whole manpower pool. That was pretty much it. And this is essentially my Mali and Abu Bakr II's ambition achievement guide. So hopefully you guys enjoy it. Check out all my other achievement guides. There's a playlist of them. And subscribe if you enjoy them, or ask me to try and do other achievements. I've done quite a few and I'm willing to do more. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.